Chapter 22. As the reader has seen, Af Lin had not favored my general and unrestricted intercourse with his countrywomen. Though relying on my promise to abstain from giving any information as to the world I had left, and still more on the promise of those to whom had been put the same request, not to question me, which Z had exacted from Tari, yet he did not feel sure that, if I were allowed to mix with the strangers whose curiosity the sight of me had aroused, I could sufficiently guard myself against their inquiries. When I went out, therefore, it was never alone. I was always accompanied either by one of my host's family or by my child friend Tari. Bra, Af Lin's wife, seldom stirred beyond the gardens which surrounded the house, and was fond of reading the ancient literature, which contained something of romance and adventure not to be found in the writings of recent ages, and presented pictures of a life unfamiliar to her experience and interesting to her imagination. Pictures, indeed, of a life more resembling that which we lead every day above ground, colored by our sorrows, sins, passions, and much to what the tales of the genie and the Arabian Nights are to us. But her love of reading did not prevent Bra from the discharge of her duties as mistress of the largest household in the city. She went daily the round of the chambers, and saw that the automata and other mechanical contrivances were in order, that the numerous children employed by Af Lin, whether in his private or public capacity, were carefully tended. Bra also inspected the accounts of the whole estate, and it was her great delight to assist her husband in the business connected with his office as chief administrator of the lighting department, so that her avocations necessarily kept her much within doors. The two sons were both completing their education at the College of Sages, and the elder, who had a strong passion for mechanics, and especially for works connected with the machinery of timepieces and automata, had decided on devoting himself to these pursuits, and was now occupied in constructing a shop or warehouse, at which his inventions could be exhibited and sold. The younger son preferred farming and rural occupations, and when not attending the college, at which he chiefly studied the theories of agriculture, was much absorbed by his practical application of that science to his father's lands. It will be seen by this how completely equality of ranks is established among this people, a shopkeeper being of exactly the same grade in estimation as the large landed proprietor. Af Lin was the wealthiest member of the community, and his eldest son preferred keeping a shop to any other avocation, nor was this choice thought to show any want of elevated notions on his part. This young man had been much interested in examining my watch, the works of which were new to him, and was greatly pleased when I made him a present of it. Shortly after, he returned the gift with interest, by a watch of his own construction, marking both the time as in my watch and the time as kept among the Vril-Ya. I have that watch still, and it has been much admired by many among the most eminent watchmakers of London and Paris. It is of gold, with diamond hands and figures, and it plays a favorite tune among the Vril-Ya in striking the hours. It only requires to be wound up once in 10 months, and has never gone wrong since I had it. These young brothers, being thus occupied, my usual companion in that family when I went abroad were my host or his daughter. Now, agreeably with the honorable conclusions I had come to, I began to excuse myself from Z's invitations to go out alone with her, and seized an occasion when that learned Guy was delivering a lecture at the College of Sages to ask Af Lin to show me his country seat. As this was at some little distance, and as Af Lin was not fond of walking, while I had discreetly relinquished all attempts at flying, we proceeded to our destination in one of the aerial boats belonging to my host. A child of 8 years old, in his employ, was our conductor. My host and myself reclined on cushions, and I found the movement very easy and luxurious. "Af Lin," said I, "you will not, I trust, be displeased with me if I ask your permission to travel for a short time, and visit other tribes or communities of your illustrious race. I have also a strong desire to see those nations which do not adopt your institutions, and which you consider as savages. It would interest me greatly to notice what are the distinctions between them and the races whom we consider civilized in the world I have left. It is utterly impossible that you should go hence alone, said Athlin. Even among the Vril-Ya you would be exposed to great dangers. Certain peculiarities of formation and color, and the extraordinary phenomenon of hirsute bushes upon your cheeks and chin, denoting in you a species of Arn distinct alike from our own race and any known race of barbarians yet extant, would attract, of course, the very special attention of the College of Sages in whatever community of Vril-Ya you visited, and it would depend upon the individual temper of some individual sage whether you would be received, as you have been here, hospitably, or whether you would not at once be dissected for scientific purposes. Know that when the Tur first took you to his house, and while you were there put to sleep by Tari in order to recover from your previous pain or fatigue, the sages summoned by the Tur were divided in opinion whether you were harmless or an obnoxious animal. During your unconscious state, your teeth were examined, and they clearly showed that you were not only graminivorous, but carnivorous. Carnivorous animals of your size are always destroyed, as being of savage and dangerous nature. Our teeth, as you have doubtless observed, are not those of the creatures who devour flesh. It is indeed maintained by Z and other philosophers that as, in remote ages, the Arna did prey upon living beings of the brute species, their teeth must have been fitted for that purpose. But even if so, they have been modified by hereditary transmission and suited to the food on which we now exist. Nor are even the barbarians, who adopt the turbulent and ferocious institutions of Glek-Naz, devourers of flesh like beasts of prey. In the course of this dispute, it was proposed to dissect you. But Tari begged you off, and the Tur being, by office, averse to all novel experiments at variance with our custom of sparing life, except where it is clearly proved to be for the good of the community to take it, sent to me, whose business it is, as the richest man of the state, to afford hospitality to strangers from a distance. It was at my option to decide whether or not you were a stranger whom I could safely admit. Had I declined to receive you, you would have been handed over to the College of Sages, and what might there have befallen you, I do not like to conjecture. Apart from this danger, you might chance to encounter some child of 4 years old, just put in possession of his vril staff, and who, in alarm at your strange appearance, and in the impulse of the moment, might reduce you to a cinder. Tari himself was about to do so when he first saw you, had his father not checked his hand. Therefore I say, you cannot travel alone, but with Z you would be safe, and I have no doubt that she would accompany you on a tour round the neighboring communities of Vril-Ya. To the savage states, no. I will ask her. Now, as my main object in proposing to travel was to escape from Z, I hastily exclaimed, "Nay, pray do not. I relinquish my design. You have said enough as to its dangers to deter me from it, and I can scarcely think it right that a young Gi of the personal attractions of your lovely daughter should travel into other regions without a better protector than a Tish of my insignificant strength and stature." Athlin emitted the soft sibilant sound which is the nearest approach to laughter that a full-grown Arn permits to himself, ere he replied, "Pardon my discourteous but momentary indulgence of mirth at any observation seriously made by my guest. I could not but be amused at the idea of Z, who is so fond of protecting others that the children call her the guardian, needing a protector herself against any dangers arising from the audacious admiration of males. Know that our G.E., while unmarried, are accustomed to travel alone among other tribes, to see if they find there some Arn who may please them more than the Arna they may find at home. Z has already made 3 such journeys, but hitherto her heart has been untouched." Here the opportunity which I sought was afforded to me, and I said, looking down, and with faltering voice, "Will you, my kind host, promise to pardon me if what I am about to say gives offence?" "Say only the truth, and I cannot be offended. Or, could I be so, it would not be for me, but for you, to beg pardon." "Well, then, assist me to quit you, and as much as I should have liked to witness more of the wonders and enjoy more of the felicity which belong to your people, let me return to my own." "I fear there are reasons why I cannot do that. At all events, not without the permission of the Tur, and he probably would not grant it. You are not destitute of intelligence. You may, though I do not think so, have concealed the degree of destructive powers possessed by your people. You might, in short, bring upon us some danger, and if the Tur entertains that idea, it would clearly be his duty either to put an end to you or to enclose you in a cage for the rest of your existence. But why should you wish to leave a state of society which you so politely allow to be more felicitous than your own?" "Oh, Aflin, my answer is plain, lest in naught and unwittingly I should betray your hospitality, lest in the caprice of will which in our world is proverbial among the other sex, and from which even a Gi is not free, your adorable daughter should deign to regard me, though a Tish, as if I were a civilized Arn, and court you as her spouse," put in Aflin gravely, and without any visible sign of surprise or displeasure. "You have said it." "That would be a misfortune," resumed my host after a pause, "and I feel you have acted as you ought in warning me. It is, as you imply, not uncommon for an unwedded Gi to conceive tastes as to the object she covets which appear whimsical to others. But there is no power to compel a young Gi to any course opposed to that which she chooses to pursue. All we can do is to reason with her, and experience tells us that the whole college of sages would find it in vain to reason with a Gi in a matter that concerns her choice in love. I grieve for you, because such a marriage would be against the aglauron, or good of the community, for the children of such a marriage would adulterate the race. They might even come into the world with the teeth of carnivorous animals. This could not be allowed. Z, as a Gi, cannot be controlled, but you, as a Tish, can be destroyed. I advise you, then, to resist her addresses, to tell her plainly that you can never return her love. This happens constantly. Many an Arn, however, ardently wooed by one Gi, rejects her, and puts an end to her persecution by wedding another. The same course is open to you." "No, for I cannot wed another Gi without equally injuring the community, and exposing it to the chance of rearing carnivorous children." "That is true. All I can say, and I say it with the tenderness due to a Tish, and with the respect due to a guest, is frankly this: if you yield, you will become a cinder. I must leave it to you to take the best way you can to defend yourself. Perhaps you had better tell Z that she is ugly. That assurance on the lips of him she woos generally suffices to chill the most ardent Gi. Here, we are at my country house."